Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels collector video. Today we are looking at the 73 Jeep J10. This car is actually a brand new casting for 2023. It features in the 2023 M case and also features in the 2023 Baja Blazers set and is car number 3 out of 10 in that set. I'll quickly mention where I actually found this car then. So I actually found this car when I was on holiday down south in The Entertainer store, that's what it's called. And they actually have a deal on, so you can buy 3 cars for £4.80. Or you can buy a single car for £2.40. So essentially you get 1 car free if you buy 3 cars. So £2.40 is very expensive for a single car, but when you do the £4.80 deal, it's actually a pretty good price here in the UK. So yes, I did buy 3 cars. I bought this, the Volvo XC40 and the GMC Hummer EV Barbie one. So yeah, I did buy 3 and I did get essentially 1 car for free. So I was pretty happy with that. But there you go, that's where I found the car. A little bit of backstory, I've had this car for a few months now. It was actually new back when I got it, but I've just had it lying around for so long and I forgot about it, to be entirely honest. I've been reviewing newer stuff and I thought I need to get this video out because it's a new casting. So here it is, you can have a good look at this thing whilst I tell you some facts about the real life car. So in real life, this model was produced from 1962 all the way up to 1988. The largest engine available for this car was a 6.6 litre 401 cubic inch V8 engine, and it was actually an AMC American Motor Company engine. It also had both manual and automatic transmission options available. There were 4 different transmissions available for this car, however only one of the transmissions, which was a manual, was a 4-speed, whilst the other 3 transmission options were a 3-speed. This car also had 330 horsepower, by the way this is the peak power that I could find at least, and also had 430 pound-feet of torque converted to about 583 newton meters. Finding facts about this car was quite hard because it seems to be quite a rare car that there's not really many performance stats about this car, so I genuinely don't have any more things about performance like 0 to 60 and all that. There just wasn't any available, at least that I could find. But what I did find is this car actually used to be called the Jeep Gladiator. However, that name was dropped and this car just became the Jeep J series. Hence it's called the Jeep J10. And what I could also find, I couldn't find the price when it was new, but what I could find is how much this car sold for nowadays. So the highest price this car has ever sold for is $110,000, and that converts to £89,900. One final fact I do have is that the Jeep J10 had just under 46,000 units produced. That is it for the facts that I could find about this car. I'm sorry I couldn't find any in detail performance figures. The only thing I could find is the horsepower and torque figures. So please do forgive me because some of these cars are an absolute nightmare to find figures about, and this is just one of them ones. So hopefully you found those facts interesting. Let's get straight into the showcase of the Hot Wheels model. Alright, so kicking off this showcase then, we'll first of all take a look at the side of this car. Now first of all mention the wheel choice on this thing. So this car is rolling on the off-road beadlock wheels, which first debuted in 2009 and they have been painted in chrome. As for the actual colour of the rest of the car then, it's painted in this interesting, very metallic orange colour. So it's a base orange colour and then we do have some yellow metal flake in it, giving it a very interesting colour. It kind of changes depending on the light. Sometimes the car looks more orange, sometimes it looks more yellow, sometimes it looks more of a light orange colour. So it really does change depending on the light. You guys are seeing a more orange colour on camera. When I look at the car right now, it looks more yellowy to me from this lighting. Alright, so now onto the tamper work for this car then. We do actually have not a whole lot of tamper work, but we do have some. So first of all, we do have the Hot Wheels logo, which is absolutely massive, done in black and silver tampo. We also do have the Jeep logo, which has been done in black. And the final piece of tamper work we do see on the side of this car is the number 426, which has been tampered in black. Then behind that, we do have a white rhombus. And then around that rhombus, we actually do have a black outline. I'm not entirely sure what the 426 means and what significance it has to this car. I'm guessing that does have some meaning. The fandom says that this car is modified, which I could tell, but maybe it is like the horsepower figure of this modified one. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody will probably know. But yeah, it does have that number there. It probably has some significance, but I have no clue what it actually means. And now onto the actual metal casting itself. So first of all, we do have the door handle featuring the metal casting. It's very difficult to see because the tamper work is actually over the top of it and the lighting doesn't make it any easier to see. You can just about see it, but it's really difficult to see on this car. I will mention that this casting does not have any wing mirrors, but that's totally okay because as you can see on the card out there, it also does not have any wing mirrors. And that is the design of this car, so I am not going to be reducing the score of this car due to it not having any wing mirrors because it's not supposed to. And finally, I'll mention that there are actually no side windows on this car. Instead, the only thing we do see is some netting, which is created through the black base plastic. The interior plastic of this car is done in chrome. And the final thing I do want to mention is the side skirt of this car is created through that same black base plastic. Anyways, that is it for the side of this car. Now let's move on to the front of this thing. Alright, so taking a look at the front of this car, then we do have a decent amount of detail here in terms of the use of plastics, but also in terms of tamper work. So let's get straight into it. First of all, we do have the headlights as well as front grille of this car, created using the chrome interior plastic. We also do have a large off-road ram bar here, which is created through the black base plastic. Very nice use of that there. That ram bar does actually include 2 off-road spotlights, but interestingly, they do not receive any tamper work, even though there is actually tamper work on the front of this car, which we will get into in literally just a second, but I do find that really odd that they did leave that. But yeah, that's really it for this section of the front, but now let's move on to the top half of the front of this car. Alright, and now taking a look at the top half of the front of this car, this is where the tamper work lies. So first of all, we do have 4 off-road spotlights featuring here. They are created through the black base plastic. They actually do receive tamper work. They're done in a realistic look, and that tamper work does include white, grey, and I think that's really it in terms of colours. Maybe some silver in there as well, but it does make them look very realistic. I'm pleased with the way they look, and I'm actually surprised that they did receive tamper work. We also do have a little bit of tamper work on the actual front windshield of this car as well. So first of all, we do have the BF Goodrich sponsor, which is being done in white. And we also do have the Jeep logo, which is also being done in white tempo. And if you don't know what BF Goodrich make, the sponsor which features on the windshield of this car, they create pretty heavy duty tyres. They are made for off-roading, rock crawling, all sorts of different things, and even pavement, so they make a wide range of different tyres for cars and other vehicles. Anyways, that is it for the front of this car. Now let's move on to the next side of this thing. Alright, so taking a look at the next side of this car, then there's practically no difference between this side of the car and the previous side. The only thing that actually does feature in this side of the car, which isn't on the previous, is there is a fuel filler cap on this side of the car. You can see it is just a section of this side of the car which does not receive any tamper work and hence is painted in orange. Anyways, we're going to move on to the rear of this car. Obviously you can pause the video here and have a look for yourself if you're looking for something specific. I'm not going to bore you with going over everything all over again. Anyways, now let's move on to the rear of this thing. Alright, so taking a look at the rear of this car then, there's actually no tamper work featuring here unfortunately. However, that is something that you do come to expect with mainline cars. There is a decent amount of detail in terms of the actual metal casting though. So first of all, we do have the rear lights featuring the metal casting. They do not receive any detail, however you could add your own detail using Sharpie or acrylic paint. We also do have the rear bumper of this car also featuring the metal casting there. It's a very heavy duty off-road looking rear bumper to this car. We also do have an off-road light, or I presume it's an off-road light, featuring just between the 2 off-road wheels. Speaking of the off-road wheels then, there are 2 off-road wheels featuring in the bed of this truck, and they are created through the black base plastic. Now interestingly, I'm going to move the car around slightly, you can see they actually do receive chrome paint. That is the exact same paint as the actual ones featuring on this car. That's a cool detail. I don't know if they'll change on future, recolours of this car. Say if a future recolour had red wheels, will the ones in the bed of the truck change to red, or will they always be chrome? I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And yeah, you can see those off-road wheels do have the same off-road tread that the actual wheels of this car do have. Anyways, that is it for the rear of this car. Now let's move on to the top of this thing, where you'll be actually able to see more of the details found within the bed of the truck. Alright, so taking a look at the top of this car then, we do have more detail in terms of the metal casting and plastic uses. However, we do not have any tamper work featuring on the top of this car. The main details lie within the bed of this truck. So we do have this off-road roll cage featuring in the truck bed. We also do have what appears to be 2 fire extinguishers, which feature in the metal casting as well. And behind all that roll cage and stuff, you can see there is some kind of object created through the chrome interior plastic. Now I can tell you what that is. that is some fans to cool down the engine of this car. Very cool to see that there. They actually do have a decent amount of detail. Hopefully I can show you that. It's quite difficult to see. There you go. I think you can see them a little bit better there. I'm just going to kind of move the camera around whilst I talk. You can see them in there. Very nice amount of detail found there. I'm actually surprised at how detailed that bed of this truck is, and I really do think that that's where most of the detail lies within this car. Now onto the actual roof of this car then, there's actually no detail in terms of the actual metal casting. It's completely flat there and nothing really to look at. You can see those off-road lights do feature there, created through the black base plastic, but we've already mentioned them there. So finally taking a look at the hood of this car then, we do see some detail in terms of the metal casting. So first of all, we do have this vent which runs all the way along the windshield of this car. Finally, we do have this bulge in the hood, which is actually accurate to the real life car. You can see on the card out there, it does feature there as well. And it would actually have a little vent on the actual front of the car, but obviously on the Hot Wheels model, there is no shut off or hole there. That is something that you would expect with Hot Wheels models, since they're just so small and it's quite hard to manipulate the metal so precisely like that. But there you go, very nice to see that bulge in the hood nonetheless. Anyways, that is it for the top of this car, and that is also it for my showcase of this car. So now let's move on to my final thoughts and review on this thing. Alright, so now it's time for my final thoughts and review on this car. I really do like the actual metal casting itself. I think it has a lot of detail. In particular, I like those little fire extinguishers which feature in the truck bed of this thing. They look awesome, really cool little details there. I love those types of details. As for the actual use of the plastics on this car, very good use of them as well. I like the wheels in the truck bed of this thing. I like the fact that they are chrome and painted to match the actual wheels which spin around on this thing. Super nice to see them there. It's not very often that we actually do see the wheels in the truck bed being painted, never mind matching the ones which feature on the car. Usually they're just left black plastic. So super nice amount of detail there. I'm really impressed with that. I also do like the bull bar on the front of this car, as well as the grille being created through the chrome interior plastic. Very nice detail there. And I also do like the fans which feature in the truck bed as well. It is just a really nice model, and I highly do recommend you pick this thing up, since it is a new casting, so it will go up in value, but also this is just a really nice piece to have in your collection. Whether you collect off-road cars or even sports cars, this is just an awesome one to have. I will warn you though, it is a very tight fit in the Creative Options organisers. I know a lot of people keep them in there. You literally have to pretty much shove it in there. It will fit if you give it a gentle shove, but it's really, really tight. It's even more tight than the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is a new casting for this year as well. I don't know what it is with the Hot Wheels design team this year, but they've been making super long castings. I don't know if it's just the cars they have picked, or if they are making them longer, but I don't know. But yeah, they don't fit very easily. This one doesn't fit very easily at all. But anyways, that does lead me on to my score out of 10. So one with this car out of 10. It's going to be receiving a very solid and respectable 8.5 out of 10. I'm a pretty big fan of this car, and yeah, it does a lot of things right indeed. Super cool one. I highly recommend you pick this thing up. And yeah, that is really it for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and you can also press that notification bell so you're not missing new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, or any groups who may be interested. But remember, don't feel pressured if you don't feel like you have anybody who may be interested. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for bringing it all the way up until this point. But anyways, that is it for this video, so I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.